Right. Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to Arsenal 101, and we are here to talk about Arsenal versus Brentford. I'm just making sure here that my audio is okay. Yep, looks good. And we are here, guys, to talk about the kickoff for the Premier League. It's on Friday. It's been put on Friday because they want the league to be able to see these two teams highlighted in terms of how the competition is going to go. And I've got Simon Webster here. He's a big Brentford fan. He's been a season ticket holder, haven't you? And been doing a lot of work behind the scenes with Brighton. Tell us about yourself, Simon, a bit before we go into the preview.
Yeah, sure. So I'm originally from Scotland. I moved to London in 1991. Living in South Ealing, Brentford was my closest team, so I started going down to watch Brentford, and I've never really looked back. So I've seen Brentford in League Two, League One, the Championship, and I really can't wait to see Brentford playing in the Premier League tomorrow evening. So excited.
Excellent. So this is an absolutely big, huge, humongous game. If we think about it in terms of how we're getting the league underway, this is going to be a new set of London rivals for Arsenal, because we've had to deal with countless amount of teams before, and yourself as well, being a Brentford fan. But now to consider West Ham, Chelsea, Tottenham, Arsenal, all these teams as London rivals now in the top league, that must be an amazing feeling.
Oh, it's amazing to think that Brentford have gone from playing, QPR and Fulham as our local rivals, sometimes going across town to play Orient. And now we're playing the very best clubs in Europe. So, it is so exciting to think we'll be playing, Chelsea and Arsenal, and I hate to say Tottenham and West Ham, twice this season. And really, it is really incredibly exciting. And as you were saying there, the Premier League season starts tomorrow night, and it's just fantastic that the spotlight is, fully on Brentford as one of the promoted clubs, and we're playing at home in our new stadium. So it's great that the world will be watching.
So for Arsenal fans and for Premiership fans all around who don't know too much about Brighton, who would you see, for us, everybody knows our most hated rivals is Tottenham Hotspur, and they know that we don't get on with Man United. Who could we say are your number one rivals? This is something that a lot of fans would not know about, but who would you say, so we can learn just a little bit about how Brentford works? Who would you say who are the one or the two most teams that you absolutely despise and you're looking forward to sort of matching up with?
Yeah, I mean, over the last 10, 20 or 30 years, that's really been both Fulham and QPR. So between us, all three clubs have bounced around the league. So, we were in League Two, then League One and the Championship, as I said, whereas you've had Fulham who've had some time in the Premier League and then quite a bit of time in the Championship in League One. So they've been our two main rivals over the past few years. But, we're looking forward to locking horns with Chelsea on equal terms as our West London derby this season.
So before we go to the preview, just wanted to talk about, first of all, congratulations. It's the first time you've been in the top flight football since 1947. That was the year that the Roswell incident happened in New Mexico in the USA. That's 74 years ago. And for those people who probably were born before that day, it might be very historic to see this event. And it's also rare for the Gunners as well, because this is the first time we've gone into the season without any European football. So, again, nearly 3 decades. So for both of the clubs, this season is going to be very historic. And I'm sure some supporters are apprehensive about traveling to Brentford because it's Friday the 13th, COVID is everywhere now. And what type of vaccination programs are you running? The same as the FA, which is fully vaccinated and a proof of an official test within 48 hours. Is that what's happening there tomorrow?
I'm not 100% sure if that's exactly what's happened, but I think that's obviously what's recommended. And my understanding is, Brentford will be following the processes laid down by the Premier League.
Okay, so how did you guys pre-season go? I think there was games against West Ham, victories against Watford, Valencia. Just sum up for me how you thought your pre-season went, because we didn't win any pre-season games. Aubameyang in 6 games did not score. The Millwall and the Watford games weren't really preseason games. They were just behind the doors games because we cancelled the American trip. So Arsenal's preseason was not a good one. But how did you guys fare?
We did pretty well. We went up to Old Trafford, so we played Man United. Both teams were about 50% of strength, so read into that what you will. But we came away with a 2-2 draw from Old Trafford, which we would hope to repeat later in the season. And then we had 2 friendlies at home, just to give fans a chance to really get up and running in the new stadium. So we hosted West Ham. We lost 1-0 in a very close game, but we more than held our own. So that game we lost to Said Ben Rama goal, and obviously we sold Ben Rama to West Ham last season. And then we beat Valencia 2-1 on Saturday, and we turned in a very impressive second half. So I think we go into the new season with a lot of confidence.
Excellent. So, guys, let us know what you think in the chat. Kuke says, hey, Simon. 18 is saying, nice to see you, Simon. Kuke is also saying, I've never been less optimistic. The team looks painfully average. He's talking about Arsenal now. The only thing we can do is hope for a miracle and that the planets and stars align to allow us to have a decent season. Yeah, look, that's probably the feeling with most Arsenal fans at the moment. Again, I don't think Frank's side will fear Arsenal. The thing about Premiership teams is they can smell a wounded animal. They know when you're hurting, and they bring out all the stops, because this is a league where if you sit back and you try and defend and get a point, you're just going to get blown over. So a lot of the Championship teams are coming out now, as we've seen with Leeds and various other teams, and they're just taking the fight to teams. It's like, look, you guys are getting paid 100,000 a week, 200,000 a week, 300 grand a week. We're getting paid peanuts, 10,000, 20,000 a week, but we don't care because we're on the field here to fight for 90 minutes. So if you're not willing to fight, we're going to roll you over. And that's the way how Leeds looked at it. Leeds were like, we don't care how much you're earning. We don't care what you've won before. We're here to fight with you for 90 minutes. And that's how they were able to survive. And teams are looking at Brentford exactly in the same manner. I think they understand that there's a transition under Arteta, and Arteta hasn't got the players that he wants. We're not the finished article. And for Brentford, I think that it couldn't be any more happier in the situation for them to be playing Arsenal in these reigns. Ivan Toney will be relishing the challenge. This is a guy who's been begging to play in the Premier League, coming off 31 goals, 2 goals in the playoffs as well. And I think talk to us a little bit about your signings. Kristoffer Ajer, I think, from Celtic, and Janssen as well, a couple of signings. Talk to me about how you felt you've done in terms of signings this summer.
Yeah, so I mean, the squad that we had that got us promoted is essentially a very good and a strong squad. And in the Carabao Cup last season, we beat 4 Premier League teams on our run to the semi-finals when we lost narrowly to Spurs. So we know we've got good strength in the team. So in the off season, it's about just been adding 1 or 2 quality signings. So Kristoffer Ajer has joined from Celtic. So he's a Norwegian international. We've paid around 13 million for him. So the hope and the expectation is that he adds some strength to the defence, and that he can also play out from the back, which is something he was known for at Celtic. And then in midfield, we've signed a guy called Frank Onyeka, or he's already been nicknamed Frank the Tank. So it gives you an indication as to his style of play. But he's a sort of box-to-box midfielder who we've signed from FC Midtjylland in Denmark. So we're hoping he adds some energy and some robustness, but will also have an eye for goal. And he scored a good goal against Valencia at the weekend. So there are 2 marquee signings. And we've also added a striker from a French club, Lorient, yesterday. So that's 3 new signings: 1 in defence, 1 in midfield, and 1 in the forward line. So, do you think Johan Wissa might get involved? Is he injured at the moment? I think there's a few players, Dalla Silva as well, Matthias Jensen. Are they going to be available? So Wissa's the guy we signed from the French side yesterday. It looks like he might be on the bench against Arsenal, so it wouldn't surprise me if he got some time. But we're not quite sure that he's been training with the squad today. In terms of the others you mentioned, so Matthias Jensen is a sort of sublime playmaker, if you like, in midfield. So he featured in the Euros for Denmark. Unfortunately, in that semi-final when England beat Denmark, Kyle Walker just caught him on his foot towards the end of the game. So he went off with a foot injury, and we haven't seen him back in training. So he might be a couple of weeks away. But as you said, Josh Da Silva is out injured. Now, he's this guy, a real, again, powerful midfielder who is absolute class on the ball. And we signed him from Arsenal when it was clear he wasn't really going to get a chance in the first team at Arsenal. And he came to us and he spent about a year in the B team. So he didn't get anywhere near the first team, but he stepped up into the first team. And I honestly think he will go on and play for England one day. He's an absolutely superb prospect.
Excellent, excellent. So for Arsenal, the way how we are at the moment, we're going to be relying heavily on Smith Rowe, Pepe, and maybe Bukayo Saka. A lot of Saka still hasn't realistically had the rest that he wanted, and we overplayed him last season. But I think the fact that we're not going to be in Europe now means that these guys ain't going to be playing twice a week. So I think for Saka now, I'm not worried about him. I'm not worried about burning out the young legs of Smith Rowe and Saka anymore. I think we're going to be heavily reliant on them for creativity, and then just hope that Aubameyang gets something going. Me personally, I don't actually see Aubameyang playing in this game. I would go with my team would be Leno in goal, Tierney at left back, Mari and Ben White at centre back, and I would go with Callum Chambers on the right. My midfield holding would be El Nele and Lokonga, but I know that Arteta's going to play Xhaka, so it's probably going to be Xhaka and Lokonga. Then I'll have Smith Rowe, Saka, and Pepe playing behind Lacazette. That's how I would go in. But I know they're going to shoehorn Aubameyang on the left, and that's just going to mess up the whole balance of the team. And probably that means that Saka or Pepe might miss out, which is ridiculous when you consider we're lacking creativity. But for me, I think you've got to go with Lacazette at the top, because I don't see anyone else at the moment who's going to be there that is going to fulfill any type of goal threat for Arsenal at the moment, which is really sad for me to say, but they just don't look dangerous at all. G is saying Arsenal are in trouble. Listening to Simon shows they aren't afraid of us. Beating 4 Premier League teams last season, we are toast. And Bobby says, I think we will win fairly comfortably, but we can't get ahead of ourselves until we start playing the bigger teams and start performing consistently. See, so that's where Brentford are going to come to the table and say, look, we're going to be a big team. We're in the Premiership now. We got to get that 94.1 million TV money, that's just the base value. You get TV bonuses on top of that. So you're talking about over 100 million in TV revenue. Simon, has your tickets increased much, the ticket pricing?
No, they held the ticket prices. So if people had a season ticket in the Championship, obviously the COVID meant that they weren't able to go last season. So that's rolled over into the new season. So it's typically around £500 for a good seat. I think the expectation is if we're... Yeah.
That's Simon, that's how much I was paying for. I was paying £480 for a season ticket at Highbury. And that was in the late 90s.
And so the new stadium holds 17,500, and I think we've got something like 11 or 12,000 season tickets. So we've sold as many season tickets as we're going to. So I think everyone, is obviously looking forward to it's a whole new experience for us to see, all these top-class sides come down. So it is wildly exciting.
So what's your forecast? Are you staying up, or you getting relegated? What do you think is going to happen?
I think it largely comes down to how we start. So in the first couple of months, if we can show that we can handle ourselves in the Premier League and put some points on the board, and if we can be hovering somewhere, above the relegation places after the second international break in October, then then I think we'll do very well. So we just need to get off to that good start and show we can handle ourselves. I think the biggest challenge is you've just got to be concentrating 100%. And if you make a mistake or a slip up, you're far more likely to be punished by the better quality players that will come up against in the Premier League. So concentration is absolutely crucial.
Excellent. Big shout out to Kieran. Kieran's here to spy on us. Kieran's you're going to probably see him a lot on our Friday night podcast. So Simon, you are invited to come and talk about Brentford and the rest of the league. Every Friday we do a podcast at 10 o'clock. Obviously it's not going to happen tomorrow because we're going to be covering the Arsenal game. But the guys, I believe the guys are going to be jumping on tonight at 8:30. A couple of the Man City and the Spurs guys are going to be jumping in, just talking about how they felt they're prepared for the season and probably doing predictions. But Kieran's a Spurs fan, so Kieran's here to shout out himself. Big shout out to you, Kieran. Can't wait to see what results are paying back for us on this opening weekend. And again, for Arsenal, we're hoping to see Ben White, Lokonga and Tavares play a role this weekend. Thomas Partey, Eddie Nketiah and Gabriel are not expected to be available at least until September, so we're not going to see them in the next few weeks. So before we go, Simon, great to meet you, but let's get a prediction from you. I went for a 1-0 Arsenal away win, but it could easily be a 1-1 draw. So I'm really fighting between the two results at the moment. Where do you see this one going?
I honestly don't see Brentford losing, so with my optimistic hat on, I will go for 1-0 with Ivan Toney scoring the winner. Perhaps being more realistic, could be, 1-1. I could certainly see 1-1, but, fairly confident that we won't lose tomorrow night.
Excellent.
Sorry,
excellent.
it's all the Arsenal fans watching.
So, any final comments for you before we go?
No, just a joy to be on. It's a joy to be talking about Brentford in a Premier League context and the Premier League season. And I really can't wait to play Arsenal tomorrow night. And then also the return fixture at the Emirates in the season. That will be another one to look out for. So, Dean, it's been a pleasure.
And I'll definitely invite you in for a preview on that one when it comes to the Emirates. And if I have a spare ticket, then we'll be able to even get you involved. All right. So, listen, great having you on. For the rest of you guys, thanks for joining us. For just a preview, really just to look at the game tomorrow. We are going to be streaming the game live. We're going to be doing a watch along. Me and the rest of the guys at the panel will be talking about the game as you see it, as things happen. And Simon, thank you very much for joining us. And for the rest of you guys, look, we'll see you tomorrow, man, or tonight on the Premiership show. Okay? Speak to you later, man. Simon, thanks a lot, bro.
Cheers. Bye-bye.
Excellent.